Hey, Stacey David here with the Tales of a Gearhead podcast. Now, what is this? Well, it's a podcast that covers everything automotive, everything mechanical, everything that's just cool about the automotive lifestyle. And since that's just about everything, you're going to love it.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Cornwell Tools.
Let's get rolling. All right, I got a special treat for you guys today. I've been in this industry a long time, and I've got some friends that I've had almost since the very beginning when I started doing trucks 25 plus years ago. And I've got one of them here with me. His name is Brian Downard, and those of you guys that are in the automotive industry probably know Brian. He's worked everywhere.
I always tell people my resume is as long as my arm.
I think you were working at Mickey Thompson when I first met you, and then Stainless Works, and then LOKAR, and then Roadster Shop, and now back to LOKAR.
Yes, now back
and
home.
I probably missed something in there, but he doesn't just jump around from job to job. There's years at each one of these places, and everybody's happy to get Brian. But Brian, welcome to the podcast, man. It's great to have you here.
It's good to be with you. It's good to see you.
I'll tell you what, man. Let's talk about your background, because your background is probably very similar to a lot of hot rodders. You know, how did you grow up? How did you get into cars, man?
Man, we grew up with a dad that had it. You know, he had the passion for it, and he was all about it. And
now, did your dad work on cars and build cars and stuff? See, my dad loved cars. He wasn't a wrench turner.
Later in life, you look back and find out, like, my dad and I were the outcasts of the family.
Yeah.
My brother, my uncles, my grandfather, they all hunted, they all fished.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, let's go out. You know, we lived in Ohio. I'm like, why am I going to sit out there with deer pee all over my feet in 0-degree weather with it snowing on me, wait for something to walk by that I'm going to have to carry out of the woods? That made no sense to me.
You got to kill it and gut it.
Yeah, I'd rather be in a warm garage with a cold beer, you know, hugging a car.
Yeah.
They didn't understand it, but that was how Dad and I were that's how we were. But Dad raced he went in the Navy in 60, got out in 64, and he bought a 62 Corvette and went racing with it. And there was always a car of some sorts around, always.
Yeah. And so was your dad probably your biggest car influence to start with?
Oh, by far. I mean, my father to this day, he'll be 82 in August, and he's my hero.
Yeah.
And
just so people know the hot rod influence, your dad took a Volvo P1800. Now, for those of you guys that don't know what that is, first of all, for those that do, the P1800 is a very sought-after Volvo sports car from the 60s.
Yes.
His dad took it and made it a pro touring, or a pro street.
Pro street. He jumped over touring. He went straight to pro street. Yes.
And he did a really good job with it. Painted it green, didn't he?
Yeah, he had it vinyl wrapped by my brother, who was really happy to have to drop everything and do that for him real quick. But my brother got it wrapped and everything. And then this winter, he got bored, and he's retired now. And if he gets bored, who knows what he's going to do next? That's what happened to the Volvo.
Yeah.
I was going to restore it for Lisa and let Lisa drive it. And he goes, I'm bored. I want something to play with. And I said, well, I guess play that Volvo, get it running. And he calls me, you're going to be mad. I just cut the whole ass end out of the car.
Oh, yeah.
I said, you did what? He goes, I'm putting Mickey Thompson's on her. I got some I think there was 32 21s under.
Oh, yeah, they're big.
Yeah, they're big. And I was like, oh, dear Lord, Dad, what are you doing? I said, it's your car now. I'll give you the title. But he got bored this winter, pulled all the vinyl wrap off, and is doing all the body work, and he's going to paint it now.
Yeah.
So, hey, good. He's, like I said, he's never stops.
Oh, yeah.
And when he ever stops, I'll be worried.
Oh, yeah. That keeps you young.
Yeah,
you know?
That's when I'll worry. When I hear I'm doing sitting on the couch, then I got problems. And we know things are happening.
You know, I always say that when you look at people like Mario Andretti or Gene Winfield and stuff like that, one of the reasons they're still young is they keep working. They keep doing stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
They haven't stopped. And I guess that's what I admire about him. That's what I want. I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know, and people that meet him and hang out with him and drink a couple beers with him always go, man, that's who I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah.
You know, and he called me when he turned 60. I'll never forget it. He goes, 60's a new 40.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I'm 40 and I feel like shit. You know, but he's like, 60's a new 40. I'm like, okay. But, you know, that was just, that's my dad.
Yeah.
You know, I've been blessed. And, you know, you were talking about the early hot rodders and you know, why you're building your 40 Chevy, which makes perfect sense. But I grew up, and you did too. If you needed car parts, you had to go to the boneyard.
Oh, yeah.
And now, because of guys like Skip Walls and Vic Edelbrock and what Holly's done with the brands that they own, you don't have to do that anymore. There's a whole group of people that don't understand what that meant to go to a boneyard and have to get stuff.
Gosh.
You know,
And you didn't just have to go to the junkyard to find a part. You had to kind of re-engineer it as you looked at it. Just as something as simple as a throttle cable like you guys carry at LOKAR. You know, you would go to several different vehicles and you look at throttle cables trying to find something the right length that had the right end on it. I mean, because you...
Oh, yeah. We had bounties on things. My brother and I were like 8 and 6 years old, and Dad would go, you find a small box Chevy with a short water pump, any bracket you can get, the power steering pump, the alternator bracket, you get all those brackets, that's $2. You know, so, you know, you learned real quick what a 9/16 wrench was and how to get some busted knuckles, but you were going to make money. But that was every Saturday morning. It was a trip to the boneyard till at least noon, and then you'd go home.
And you had a junkyard that would let you do that.
Dad had a little bit of a reputation in the area we were. He was a hell of a car builder, and he had a good eye for things. And so he could walk in, and my dad has got the gift of gab and the salesmanship I wish I had. Had I been mailing down, I have no idea what would have how much more meteoric it would have been, because he's the best.
And everybody that knows you would pretty much agree that you've got it.
Well, thank you. That means a lot to me, because he's like I said, he's my hero.
Yeah. Okay, now you have one son, Cale.
I have one son, Cale.
And do you have any other kids?
No, we were very blessed to have Cale, and then very shortly after, we unfortunately had cervical cancer.
Oh.
Not me. We can joke about it now because everything's good, but I used to say, everybody, she took one for the team.
Yeah.
But we got one, and thank God we've got the world's greatest mother and my wife, and the world's greatest wife, because... And I can say it after 35 years of putting up with my dumb ass, I'm still around.
Congratulations, 35 years.
32, married, 3 before, but she never ran off. She's still there. And but he's a preacher now in South Carolina.
Wow.
We're very, very proud. And
Cale, named after Cale Yarborough?
Named after Cale Yarborough. Drove quarter midgets. We built a couple cars together, and everything we did, he goes, I don't like that.
Yeah.
We wired a car. He goes, Dad, this is boring. I don't like this.
Yeah.
Did the body work. He really didn't like body work. And I was like, okay, you're probably smarter than the old man. But, you know, he had every opportunity, I guess is what I'm saying. And there was a part of I'm not proud of. There was a moment there where I was really bummed out that
he's not a car guy.
That he wasn't going to be a car guy.
Yeah.
But I look at the young man, the husband, the person he is today.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade what he is today for.
No.
I don't care if he was Chip Foose building $1 million cars.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade it. I mean, and he's following his passion. He calls me constantly. He puts in 68 hours a week, and he'll go, Dad, I don't feel like I'm working.
Yeah.
I said, you've got the right job.
They've got to be them.
Yes.
You know,
and you got the girls.
Yeah, and they're both, one is, following music, which is, what
Perfect.
Catherine and I both did.
Yeah.
And then one is a little more of a car person, so there's a little bit, but neither one is really car heavy.
And they don't need to be, and that's the thing, like you said, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I was bummed out for a while. I was really hoping that we would ride off in the sunset together like my dad and I have.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wouldn't trade anything in the world. The only thing I'd do over again differently is I'd have been there more when he was growing up. That's when I was doing Mickey Thompson, and it was that was heavy duty travel. And there again, I've told people before, had I been single and not had a kid, I'd still be at Mickey Thompson.
Yeah.
I loved it. I mean, I loved every minute of it. And I love where I'm at now. I think, as you go through seasons of life, you find the right place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like you said, I left for a year, and those guys were great to me.
I
learned a lot, especially a lot about what these builders are doing, which is good because I need to know that in my position now.
And that changes all the time.
Oh, dear Lord. But those guys are, they're light years.
Yeah.
They're doing things that people haven't even thought about yet. In my season of life, what I'm doing, where I'm at, and the team they've put together there.
Yeah.
Our tech guys we got 3 or 4 guys there. They're just the best. And Travis Johnson, that does LS Classics, great. And Kevin and Jeffrey have been nothing but good to me. I can't say anything bad about where I'm at and the people I work with. When you get up in the morning and you want to go to work.
Yeah.
And you look up and go, oh, crap, it's 5 o'clock. I got to go pick the dog up at the groomers or something, and you got to run out the door. You're like, oh, I didn't really want to leave, but and I do. I love it. And everyone from Skip on the way down, and Skip and Debbie run the business, and they've been awesome. It's been cool.
And they keep it really focused on the cars. They keep it focused on the passion of what's going on. And they supply stuff that keeps this thing moving for us. I try to tell people this, without the products, we don't have this industry. We're back to the junkyard stuff, and that's not around anymore.
Well, that's the problem that we see with some of our stuff now is like, we rode over here in Skip's new truck, and it's push button for the shifter.
Yeah.
But the funny part about it is There are no kickdown cables anymore. You don't need them.
Yeah.
And the weird part about it is you don't need a throttle cable anymore.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
if you're playing in that world, which that's why you don't see LOKAR plastered all over brand new Camaros or brand new Firebirds, because what are we going to add to the story?
Sure.
And the other problem
Sure.
with that is you can't even really put dress-up parts on those motors because you got too much crap in the way, so to speak. What we've done is we've had to zig when it zagged. Now we're building drive-by-wire pedals.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Sport mode shifters.
Yeah.
Things that we've got to go where they're at, so to speak, and that's what we're trying to do right now.
And there's a whole world coming out there. You remember in the 70s when the kit cars first came out?
Oh, yeah.
How bad they were.
Yeah, they were.
They were all painted like two-tone brown. You remember the Mercedes Gazelle?
Oh, dear Lord, yes.
Everybody had to have a Gazelle.
And you had to have that stainless.
Pinto engine in it.
Yes.
Or the Volkswagen stuff. Well, they
I
had...
always like the corrugated tube exhaust.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I'm an exhaust guy at heart. But no, those things were like, wow.
Well, and they used door handles off from the local hardware store and all that kind of stuff. Well, those days are gone.
Yeah.
Now, we don't even call them kit cars anymore. We call them component cars. And there's a whole world out there now where you can build a quality replica of just about anything with the Dynacorn bodies and this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a world opening up now where people are starting to build custom cars and they do all need cables and pedals and that kind of thing.
No, we still see it, and don't get me wrong, it's not like those sales have dried up. But I'm just saying that as things change, that's what's weird is you think of drive-by-wire. When we worked with Williams Controls to develop that product, all your big semi-trucks have had drive-by-wires in them since 1986.
Yeah.
So when you stop and think about that, they've been using that on big rigs.
Yeah.
And that's why we use their controls, because you've got something that's designed for 80,000 pounds running down the road. We're putting it in a 2,000-pound car. We don't want to kill anybody out there. Yeah, we want to make sure it's going to be perfectly fine, and they got to test it the 9th degree because they're putting it behind 80,000 pounds. So, but... No, it's just a way of looking. It's a way we've had to look at things, changing your focus, I guess. You don't want to get tunnel vision, but you can't look at everything either.
Yeah, that's good. Anybody that knows Brian knows that he has got some incredible stories. You're just a natural storyteller, man. And I tell you what, some of the funniest things happen to you. You're like that guy that if the water is going to fall on somebody's head, it's going to be Brian. if you take a bite out of your burger, when the ketchup goes down on somebody's shirt, it's going to be Brian's shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been married, 31 years?
We've been married 32 years. It'll be 33 in August, yeah.
Okay, so there was a story that you told me a few years back that happened with your wife when she called 911 or something. What's the story?
We would always get Mickey Thompson. You got a gift certificate at Thanksgiving, a gift certificate at Christmas for honey baked ham.
Yeah.
So we would save them both, combine them, and have the whole family over.
Yeah.
Well, then you'd have a shitload of everything left over.
Yeah.
So the next day after Christmas, you'd debone the ham and make ham soup. The typical thing you do in the Midwest. Well,
Yeah.
I'm on the phone with a buddy of mine at the time from Mickey Thompson, talking to him about. I think we're getting a truck loaded actually to go to tire tested 24 hours a day.
So you're not paying attention.
So I'm not paying attention. I'm over the sink, and we got a brand new knife set for Christmas. And my wife goes upstairs. She goes, I'm going to go take a shower. Don't use the new knives.
Okay.
They're too sharp for your dumb ass. And I'm like, she didn't say that. She's too kind and doesn't cuss. But she said that was what was implied. They're too sharp for your dumb. So I'm like, okay. So I'm deboning a ham. I'm talking on the phone with one hand, doing the other. And I nicked myself. And I man, I probably ought to get off the phone before and right as I said before, I cut myself.
Yeah.
And I moved my finger, and my fingernail didn't move. And I looked down, and I was like, and I'm not a blood guy. I'm out.
Yeah.
So I
Okay, no. Let's clarify that. What do you mean you're out?
If I see blood, I'm OUT. And you're going to find me on my back.
In other words, you pass out, right?
Yeah, I'm out. Yeah, I'm out like cold. And
now, have you always been this way?
oh, yeah. No, from a little kid on.
Okay, so you got a bloody nose. You're out.
Well, I had a football helmet one time that would always, and I was a middle linebacker. Every time I'd get hit, it would cut me right above both eyebrows, and it would just bleed down.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see it. But you'd go somewhere and say, what happened to you? You'd like take your helmet off and look at something. They're picking me up out there, putting me on, they're putting me on the bench going, all right, get your ass up. You got to go in there. Come on, let's go. I cut myself. I look at my finger and I'm like, Lisa's up taking a shower in the upstairs. And my son's like that 2.5 years old, where Christmas is just over. His world couldn't be any better.
Yeah.
And SpongeBob SquarePants is on TV, and he's sitting on a couch where his legs are still up. He's that little. He can't
He's that
even get
little.
his-
Okay.
So he's sitting there and he's watching SpongeBob, and we were remodeling our kitchen at the time, so it was hardwood with all the furniture on it. If you'd sat in something, it'd scoot across the floor.
Yeah.
So I sit in the couch, and I got this rag over me, and I put it down between my legs, and I said, Cale, go get Mom, because the lights are dim, and I'm going.
Okay.
And
Now, have
he
you
goes,
looked at it yet?
No, I looked
okay,
once.
you
I
don't-
looked once. I saw blood. I saw my fingernail didn't move. I
Okay.
know what's happening
So
here.
you're getting queasy.
Yeah, we're on our way out. And
Okay, now wait a minute.
yeah.
What are you dressed in?
I got shorts and a T-shirt on. It's Ohio. It's like 12 degrees outside, but I'm inside. And I'm sitting there, and
Okay.
I'm on the old couch, and I told Cale, I said, go up and get Mom. I will when SpongeBob's over. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
Look, Cale, go get your Mom. He goes, it's almost over, Dad. And,
Yeah, it is almost over.
And I yelled, apparently, that's when the lights went out. And apparently I yelled Lisa loud enough that she heard me.
Okay, so you went out.
I'm out. I'm done. I went out. And unfortunately been drinking a few beers because we
Okay.
weren't working that day. Kicked the coffee table across the hardwood floor when I went out, I guess. Went into
Okay.
some sort of seizure and pissed my pants. We'll say that part real quick.
Yeah, I was going to say,
anyway-
wait a minute, you can't go too fast.
Yeah,
Okay,
so anyway-
you
So now I'm on the couch, passed out,
and pissed your pants.
and got my finger in this thing, and I wake up, she's smacking me in the face, and I see lights flashing in the bay window, and I'm like, what are those lights for? And she goes, that's the ambulance I called. I said, what? She goes, you're having a seizure, man. I thought you were, I don't know what the hell to do. And Cale's still, now remember, the whole time, my kid's sitting on the couch watching SpongeBob.
Okay, and
So
he
when
hasn't
Lisa,
moved.
No, so when Lisa walks in front of him, he's like, leaning around her, like,
Yeah, it's
hey, you're
like,
blocking
hey,
my
Mom,
view.
get out of the way.
Don't worry about this guy. You're blocking my view of SpongeBob. So here come these guys, and I go to the front door, and I go, oh, I pissed my... And you know what your moms tell you from the time you're how old? You can't wear dirty underwear. You might have to go to the hospital.
Oh,
You
yeah,
hear
yeah,
that?
yeah.
How many times did you hear that?
Oh, yeah,
at our
you
age,
might get in an accident.
Yeah, you might get in an accident. So
Not-
I'm like, Lisa, go get me some damn breeches, man. I'm in trouble here. And here comes these guys, and the first guy gets to the door, and he goes, did you call? I said, I didn't call. I said, no, my wife didn't. I'm still doing this. I'm so out of it. I'm still doing this.
So you still have your finger
I still
clutched?
got my finger covered with the rag. And he goes, well, let's go sit down. And I've got half on pants and half off pants, trying to put shit on and sit down on the couch. He goes, well, let me see it. And I take the rag off. It ain't even bleeding anymore.
Okay.
And the guy looks at me and he's like, you got to be shitting me. And I'm like, hey, I didn't call you. I was out. Then she got mad. Then she's mad. Just, I called them for this. And the guy goes, the guy comes in and he goes, do you still want to go in the ambulance? I said, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
And the whole time they're like in front of my kid, and he's pissed off because now he's like looking every which way he can to get around to see the TV.
Oh, yeah.
All these people came in his house and blocked the TV. And I'm looking at him the whole time like, I'm gonna murder you, and they leave. and I said, Cale, why didn't you go get Mom? Well, SpongeBob was on.
SpongeBob was on. Why would I do that? You're fine.
I could have killed him. And
Oh,
then
my
she was going
gosh.
to kill me, so that was a lovely evening. But yeah, that was a lovely evening. Yeah.
Oh, my
Fun times
gosh.
at the Downard house. There's always something like. We bought that house when we were doing the bathroom, and I said, "Watch this!" And I was going to crack my head through the sheetrock because it was.
Oh, yeah.
Just for the hell of it, I found a 2x4, man. I went down to both knees. And she laughed her ass off. She thought that was the funniest thing in the world. She goes, "Boy, you're a he-man, aren't you?" And I'm like, "No, I quit. Get somebody in here to do this."
Of all
I'm
the
done.
things, you hit it on a
I hit dead.
right on a stud.
Yeah, I was a stud finder that day, buddy. You couldn't have found a better stud finder. She laughed. She thought that
Oh,
was wonderful.
man.
What she bred with me. She stuck it out.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
she's
what
still
can you
there. She's
say?
like,
Yeah.
oh, my gosh.
What a great gal.
So are you still like that when you see blood?
I'm a little bit better, but not much, man. If it's
Really?
someone else's, I'll do what I can to help them. I can power.
So it
through
doesn't
that.
bother you if it's somebody else's?
It does, but I'll power. It's
Here, let me help you.
working out in the garage and having a little brother and doing stuff. You always, when somebody got cut, you had to cover your tracks.
Yeah.
You know, so you always you could get through that. But when it was you, it was like, oh, I'm okay, not me. And that's not supposed to come out. you know.
Yeah.
But when it comes out, and that, many times it's come out. Yeah, unfortunately, that's my life.
So what do you think the future of the hot rod world is? You think it's a good one? I think it is.
I think it's good, and I think it's strong. I think we're going to have to be very careful with what we do to protect it.
Yeah, I agree.
I got to give Summit Racing a great deal of credit right now for fighting for us.
Yeah.
and they've put out APB bulletins. I just got a catalog the other day from them, and that was the headline of the catalog was "Help Us Save the Industry."
Yeah.
And the problem is,
they're going to want to
this
regulate.
isn't the most political thing to say. It's going to fall on us. Everybody thinks, well, SEMA is going to ride in and save the day. They're not going to ride in to save the day.
Yeah.
It's going to be, and when I say us, I don't mean LOKAR, Gears TV, Painless, Edelbrock. I mean Stacey, David, Brian Downard, Skip Walls. We've got to get together. We have to pay very close attention to who we're electing.
Yeah.
And we have to pay very close attention to what they're going to do when they're in.
Yeah.
And it's very scary because I believe there are a lot of people. I think Rick Love was the one that opened my eyes to it. He said they were in Washington, and he said half of those people up there, they don't even know why you would have a car.
Yeah.
And when you stop and think, they don't. They don't need a car. They walk out of there. Somebody picks them up in a car and takes them wherever they want to go. Why would you want a car? That's a waste of time and money.
Yeah. It was a real eye-opener to me because I grew up, and most of us that grew up, you know, even up into the 2000s, getting your car was a rite of passage.
Oh, man. You couldn't wait to get your driver's license.
It was your first freedom. It was this thing. Well, that's changed, you know, and I was hearing about that now a lot of kids out of high school, they're not even getting their driver's licenses for a while.
No, they don't want them.
I thought that was crazy until my own daughters were kind of like, well, we don't really care because, you know, I was like, what?
Yeah.
How can you not care? But that's the life and that's the world they grow up in. So making sure that people see that and that we stand up for this industry individually, like you're talking about.
Like I said, we all got to get together and try and we just got to watch. And the problem, you know, everything is so EV oriented, which is fine.
Yeah, but that's going away.
Well, and it will because it can't be sustained.
No,
you know,
it's going away.
And the funny part about it, my wife, we were at a Chevy dealership one time looking at something, and the guy goes, "Well, here, try this Volt." They had just got it out.
Yeah.
And she drives it, brings it back, and the guy's all proud of himself. And he goes, "What do you think?" She goes, "That car has no soul." and the guy looked at her like he just crushed his soul. You know?
That's awesome.
And Lisa was like, "That car has no soul. It makes no noise. I couldn't drive this."
Yeah.
Cars have to make a sound.
Yeah, and that's coming from her.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's her. Well, she grew up a hot rod kid. You know, she knew what she was getting into when she got with me, so to speak. Her dad raced cars and worked with a lot of Koval, Dave Koval.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was when he had what they call the 50 Chevy that went one Indy.
Yeah,
my father-in-law was like a 15-year-old kid that just kind of went and cleaned up slicks and worked with Dave. But
so what's her favorite car? I mean, if you
pinned her down right now, you said, if you could have anything, you got carte blanche and all the money in the world, what would you own?
Yeah.
The first one out of her mouth would be a 55 Gullwing Mercedes.
Wow.
She loves
Gullwing
them. 300. And with the straight six and all that, injected cars. They were cool. And I love them too. That's way up there on my list. But when you talk hot rod, it's funny. I'm one of them guys, unfortunately, that's got to sell one to build one. Mm-hmm. And the only one that she will not let be sold is the Chevelle, my 66 Chevelle.
Yeah, it's a nice car.
Nothing else. You know, we brought Kale home from the hospital in it. We got married in that car. I got my driver's license in it. But and the other thing that she loved more than anything, and it's funny, people think she's lost her mind. If I'd build her another T-Bucket, she'd lose her mind. She'd love it.
Yeah, those are fun.
She loves a damn T-Bucket.
And
that
they're
one
cheap,
I got off of your old wheel. If people watch your show and remember your old show, used to have Zoomies on there. And we horse traded something. I don't know what the hell it was, but I ended up with those Zoomies on that T-Bucket.
They were on my English wheel,
Yeah, they're on your English wheel, and they're on my T-Bucket. But I've got good pictures of her doing some bad burnouts of that car, and she loved that car.
Yeah.
But when we moved down here, we didn't have the room for it, and it had to go.
So how about you? What is your favorite car? Well, if you could pick one, if you had to pick one.
Man, and that's my problem is I can't pick one, but if you really held me down, a 32 3-winded to me, when you sitting there, a full fendered car with the hood.
Yeah. Really? Full fender with the hood?
Oh,
okay.
and you sit in that car, and there's just, Skip's got a red one, and I just stay out of it. I don't want to sit in it because you can't walk around at work like that. Get out, you know. they might call HR.
He's passed out again.
He passed out again, lost all his blood. But that car is just and it sits right, it sounds right, and I'm funny that way. And like I could take that car. That thing's bright red with polished like Hall brand. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Or I could go the opposite. I could paint that car lavender and put Cadillac hubcaps on it and be just as happy.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's holding that steering wheel, seeing that dash, and looking out over that hood to me in those cars is just. Dad had one for a short period of time when I was growing up, and I lost my mind over that car. Just, man.
They're awesome. The 32 two-door sedan chopped is one for me.
Yeah, a 32 sedan for me is way up there high on the list, but it wouldn't be chopped. And to me,
see, I got to have that roof down,
if
man.
Henry sent that damn thing out of the factory with fenders and a hood on it, it's got to have fenders and a hood. And I got buddies that like to fight me over that, but damn it was good enough for Henry. It's good enough for me.
Oh, yeah, no. They're both good looks.
Yeah, they are. And it is. And I'm not as big a five-window fan as a lot of people are now. I see a lot more five windows.
Yeah.
And there's just something.
That's the American Graffiti thing.
Yeah, and it's cool, and I digged it, and I've seen American Graffiti. You and I could probably sit here and
go through the whole
the whole thing. But the funny part about it for me with that, I love that door.
Yeah,
it's bit the Downard family, that door.
Yeah,
my dad's was a steel car.
Yeah,
and they left the shop one time, and my stepmother Sharon was a hell of a pinstriper and letterer. She could do anything. Well, they had left the shop. They had a sign shop, and Dad was just phasing out the street rod side of it.
Yeah.
She didn't get the door shut.
Oh.
They're about 40 mile an hour. She thought, she weighs 110 pounds. That door weighs 70 at least.
Yeah.
She thought, I'll just crack the door and shut it, make sure it's shut. It sucked her out of the car.
Oh, yeah.
And to this day, there's a Band-Aid right here because it took this bone out. Oh, I don't know how she didn't lose her eyeball, but it took this bone out.
Wow,
She
pulled
wears
it right out of the car.
Yeah, pulled her right out of the car.
Yeah. For people that don't realize, he's talking about a suicide door on the car, and you
Without
don't open a suicide door.
You don't open a new suicide door. You don't open a suicide door at 2 mile an hour. She opened it up at 45.
Yeah.
And it just sucked her right out.
Kind of like the guys, I see these guys on the movies, they're going to put their convertible top down while the car's moving.
No, you're not going to.
You see it, the guys are like, that's just like a big sail. That top would be gone, man.
I'd love to see that in real life, yes.
Yeah.
You know, I got a question for you out there. If you're working in your shop, what kind of tools are you using? Now, you're probably going to go, well, whatever I got cheap, man. Are you kidding? Well, and that's the problem. Because, listen, we all grew up working with cheap tools. And my first set of tools, my dad got them at Kmart. Got them for Christmas. And I used those things until there was nothing left. But that's all we had at the time. But as soon as I could, I started investing in good tools. And the reason, it's not because you want to show them off to people, even though that's okay. It's because they allow you to do quality work. And there is nothing more frustrating. I have talked to gearheads all across the nation, around the world actually. And one of the biggest frustrations they have is either not having the right tool or breaking the tool they were using or having something strip or break or something. And almost every time it's because they don't have the right tool or they're not using a quality tool. So if you are into this, like I hope you are, you need to get some good tools, and that's where Cornwell Tools comes in. They're America's oldest tool manufacturer. They're still American made. I think that if you are going to build some stuff, if you invest in a good set of tools right off the top, you don't have to get everything, but just get yourself a nice set of hand tools and work from there. You will never regret it. And you can pass them down to your grandkids or whatever if you want to. But most car guys want to hold on to their tools as long as they can. Anyway, if you get a chance, check out Cornwell Tools. You will not be disappointed.
The question I'm asking a lot of people now is, okay, what are the top 3 or 4 things that a car's got to have to be a hot rod, in your opinion?
It's got to sit right.
Now, a hot rod is different than a street rod, is different than a gasser, is different than... I'm looking for, in Brian Downard's opinion, when you look at a car and go, oh, that's a hot rod, what are some of the things you're seeing?
Well, it's funny because I could call a gasser a hot rod, I could call a muscle car a hot rod, I could call a truck a hot rod.
Yeah.
But I think all of them, and even if it's a gasser, it's got to sit right.
Yeah, okay. Got to have a stance.
There's guys that...
and what is that stance to you?
Well,
down in the front, up in the back? Or?
Well, like I said, if it's a gasser, there's some guys that go over the top.
Yeah, stick your nose right up.
It's way too... but if it sits right and you know what it is, and you know why it's sitting the way it is, I'm all about it.
For me, a gasser has to sit level. I don't like the nose up.
I think it might be a product of my age. I'm 56 now, and I'm not a huge... And there's other people that are older than me that are, but I'm not a big fan of air ride. I like what it does or what it's capable of. But everybody I've seen that's had it, they're always working on it. And I don't want to work... I want to sit that thing the way I want it to sit and get in it and go.
I had a
that
truck.
kind of holds me back where I can't get it down on the ground all the time. But we put a Roadster Shop chassis under my 72 C10, and I'm one of them guys too. If I work for you and I've worked I can't work for someone I don't believe in.
Sure, absolutely.
Not that
You got to use their products.
But I'm not a purist, not a righteous guy, but meaning that just saying that if I got to look at what they're doing, and if what they're doing is right, it's right, and that was right, and just like our products.
Yeah, we don't put anything on the show that I don't use.
Oh, and then that's I'm like painless. I won't use. That's what I use. I use painless, and we've got good friends at all the places. But Dennis Overhalser's been a mentor to me, and one of my better friends in the industry, and I use his products, and I love them. They work well, but stance is number one.
Okay, stance is number one.
Sit, and like I said, if it's a gasser, that's fine. If it's a pickup truck, it's got to be low. I mean, come on. And that's made by your wheels and tires. And I think wheels and tires and paint can make and kill a car. Hot rod or street.
Absolutely.
No matter if you get the wrong color or you get
Even with the wrong color, if the stance is okay, you can pass it.
You can pass it, yes. But if you got both of those wrong, you're in a world of hurt. But those are the two things: is stance and combination of your wheels and tires. You get to sit's number one.
How about engine? Does it got to have a lot of power?
No.
Okay.
And I'm the anomaly on that because everything I build now lately has been a 495 or more.
Yeah.
Even the little Chevelle's got a big motor, and I don't use it. I don't want to break shit because I want to go fix it.
Yeah.
So I'm the wrong guy. I talked to a buddy of mine this weekend. He goes, "You're the dumbest guy I know." And I said, "Well," he goes, "You always put the power in and try and
and then try to
9-inch
baby
Fords and all this, and then baby it." And he goes, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Okay, maybe it does. It doesn't have to have power, but it's got to have sound. It better have a big cam.
Yeah.
Even if
Now,
it doesn't have power. It's
Are
gotta
you a
have big
V8 guy?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I can appreciate if a guy wants to build a banger, put it in a Model A, and go to the Race of Gentlemen or something. There's cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
But is that a hot rod?
I think it all goes.
In your opinion?
Yeah, because if you're going for that period and you're going to go to the Race of Gentlemen where there's other guys there that have, that's what they've embraced. I'm okay with that. An electric motor and something, I'm still not embraced that.
Yeah. That's a whole different. That's a different world.
Yeah, that's a whole different world. And
there's a validity to that, and guys that are doing that, that's okay.
We were talking on our way over here, and I got a few things I got to take care of. But one of the things I want to do is I wouldn't mind building a little sprint car chassis with a small block Chevy in it. But I'm talking not a little small block Chevy, like getting something where you'd lease a program for a month or so, build it together, 15x6 wheels all the way around, and go to Bonneville. I think that would be a riot.
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and there again, I've seen guys. You could put a V6 in it, you could put a 4-cylinder. It would still be fun because you're going to Bonneville. You're at the flats. You know? But and I think that kind of thing would happen and could be fun. And I've been kicking it around for a couple of years now. And
we need to do it. We need to do one together.
That would be a good time. And I think you could have a lot of fun doing it. And what I like about it is you're not tied. You don't have to go every week of the year.
Yeah.
And you're not someone's not going to run you over.
Yeah.
You might spend it out in the salt, but
I'll tell you what we need to do. We need to build that thing on the show, put it together, and you and I go out there, and then we'll get out there and film it, and we'll make sure that you get a cut on you somewhere.
Yeah, and pass out and you drive.
Well, there's Brian. He's laying there. He's pissed his pants.
There we go. Perfect. We're just going to leave him lay there, though. We're not going to wake him up. Yeah. We went out there, and my son, we went out there, we drove a 39 Ford all the way out from Tennessee, my son and I. Take the 39 two-door sedan, pick up my brother and my dad at the airport, and they flew out to Salt Lake, and we picked them up. We're driving back through. Well, we're driving down into Salt Lake City, and here comes about, 15 motorcycles from Sturgis, all with Hell's Angels jackets.
Oh, yeah.
And when I say they tell you stagger, don't click handlebars. These bastards click handlebars, and they don't stagger, and they don't give two shits.
Yeah.
And it's 5 o'clock traffic going to Atlanta. And I'm like, holy crap. Well, we get to this gas station to get gas. There they all are. And I'm like, oh, and we're with Michael Young, who can't not talk to someone, and my dad, who cannot not talk to someone. Dad's looking at the bikes, and my son looks like he's about scared shitless. And I'm like, don't worry about it. And this guy comes up, and he goes, hey, man, you want to sell that car? And he's got a leather vest on. And he's going like this, rubbing his chest, where you can see the wad of cash.
Yeah.
I'm going, we're 100 miles from Bonneville. I take this guy's cash. He'll meet me at that hotel.
Yeah.
Probably coonk me on the head. He'll have the cash and the car. I'll be done. I'm like, nah. And he was the nicest guy, but the rest of them guys were like very standoff. It was scary for me, but they all got in their bikes and we all headed out. They're on their way home, and it was cool. But it was scary for a minute because you don't know what you're getting into. And like I said, especially when you got Michael Young and you got my dad, who they don't care. We're just going to go for it. But that was the best thing you could do. We don't care. We're just going to go,
The thing that I found out over the years, there's 3 things that everybody can find common ground on.
Yeah.
cars or mechanical things,
Yeah.
food, and music.
Yeah.
And if you can talk to somebody about that kind of stuff, you can find common ground, even if you don't like the same cars, the same food, or whatever.
I agree. Yeah.
They'll talk about it. What kind of music do you like? Well, I like Led Zeppelin. No, I hate them. And now you're
That's
talking.
okay. Yeah.
It's okay.
I don't care. Yeah. And they were great guys.
Yeah.
Like I said, half of them wouldn't talk to you. They just, and you don't know what situation they're in. But the guy that was kind of the leader of the group was really cool. And we talked to him. And we were probably at that gas station for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And they were good dudes, but that was an experience. Though. We went out there and we stayed at the same hotel Chico Kodama does with the moon car.
Oh yeah.
And they had thrown a crank pulley earlier in the week.
Yeah.
But them guys were still there. They had one of them little 6x6 grills with a shitload of hot dogs on it. They're all sitting around the back of the trailer. And the hot dog's ready, here you eat. Well, when yours ready, you eat. Oh
yeah.
And that's how it should be. That to me is
That's
cool.
how it started. That's how it
should be. And
as long as we keep that, it'll never die.
Yeah, and
it's such a great lifestyle.
that way. Yeah, Bonneville's that way. Bonneville's just anybody that's a car guy, you got to go do it once, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And I would love to go out and race.
So for you, it's stance, it's wheels and tires, it's engine, it's sound. Now the big question. This is the one that I get really interesting answers on. Answers I do not expect sometimes from different people. Stick or automatic?
Oh, I won't do that. I got shamed on that. We built that 29 Model A Roadster, and I was going to put a 700 R4 in. I was all excited. I never had an overdrive.
Oh, yeah.
Man, this is going to be cool.
Yeah.
My son was like 15.
Yeah.
And
He's like,
we ran
"Dad."
around with the Barrel Arrow twins, Jimmy and Mikey.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy, there's no such thing as if it doesn't have 3 pedals, it's not a car.
Yeah.
And man, he got in my son's head.
Yeah.
And then my son started on my ass. and it was so bad to the point where my son was like, "You're not putting fenders on that, are you?"
Oh.
Because Jimmy won't run fenders.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not putting a hood on there. Jimmy doesn't run hoods.
Yeah.
That's my kid's hero. I'm like, oh, dear Lord. We're putting fenders and a hood on this turd.
Yeah.
But let
So
me call
the car you built
Matt.
all his life is a turd now in your son's eyes.
Oh, no, yeah. Now it's a turd in his eyes. But but I called Matt. And I said, Matt, we probably need a 5-speed. I said, I'm going to have to bite the bullet and try
Yeah.
it.
This is Matt over at American Powertrain.
Over at American Powertrain. Yeah, he's a good friend, and there's a good storyteller.
Oh, yeah. No, we've had him on here.
He's got some beauties. We ended up with a 5-speed in that, and then we ended up with a 5-speed in the Chevelle. It's 3-pedal car.
Okay.
But with the truck, we went to 4L60.
Okay.
And I'm glad. I really
Well,
am.
if it's something you're driving around, see, that's the thing. I mean, you can always explain it out, but that aside, whether it's more comfortable to drive in town or whatever, let's put that aside. Let's go back to the hot rod thing. When you look at it.
Well, okay, there you go. Because
Yeah.
the funny part about it is, I was just talking to Travis yesterday. I said, I'm getting the car ready. I was going to take the truck up to the Detroit Autorama and hang out with some friends up there and just go up for vacation just for some fun.
Yeah.
In the middle of winter. And I told Lisa, so I'm going to take the truck up. She goes, no, you're not.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean? She goes, you don't do anything with the Chevelle anymore. And I said, yeah. She
Boy,
goes,
they're shaming you everywhere, aren't
Yeah,
they?
she goes,
wife, son, everything.
Yeah,
It's
she
like,
goes,
well, you're not a real car guy anymore.
Take the Chevelle. I said, well, I guess there's no reason I can't. So I'm going to take it up. Well, I started cleaning it up and looking at a few things. And there again, the hot rod side of it, with the 5-speed in, I beat the dog turds out of that thing now. And I got 2 broken motor mounts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's sitting down. The headers are damn near touching the steering shaft. I'm like, oh, I want to fix that. And Detroit's a month away. Maybe later on.
Yeah.
That's the problem with that car is I've had it so long. It's maybe we'll fix it later on.
Yeah.
I got the truck now, but I got to get that fixed because when I get in it and drive it, I have fun with it. But the problem is I have way too much fun with it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a hot rod. It's big cam, 327, mother thumper cam, that 5-speed behind it. I put the Edelbrock ProFlow 4.
Oh, yeah.
It looks
Okay.
like just a regular intake manifold. I'll tell you what, it handles that cam and it does a real good job. Now we're running the Holley Terminator X Max in the pickup and Dakota digital dash plugged into that through a BIM mod.
Yeah.
I like to wire cars. I was looking at your painless card over there with all the. I think that's cool as hell. I want one.
I'll tell you what.
Did you make that? Or
no, Dennis did that for me, and I've tried to get him to sell them. And he
Dennis,
won't
are
do
you
it.
listening to this?
Yeah, Dennis. Well, I'm going to have him
Downard
on
needs
here.
one.
He did that for me a couple years ago. He did 2 of them with the rolls of wire. I said, Dennis, you're missing a huge market.
Downard needs one, Dennis. Yeah. You can send it to Oak Ridge. But
Anyway, okay, so stick or automatic? See how you
stick.
tried to skirt it?
I stick. I mean, the automatic's
so it's
fun.
stick. Okay.
The automatic's fun if you like to do burnouts and dick around, but that stick just gets me in so much because we live in East Tennessee. There's windy roads everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You can go from.
And your drive makes you one with a car.
Yes, it does. And it's funny because my wife prefers that.
Yeah.
She's got a little Cooper Mini that everybody teases me about, but she loves it. When
Oh,
you
my
see her
daughter
with-
loves those. She's looking
you
at
see
another
her
one.
with the top down and the sunglasses on coming around the corner, and I always want to sell that thing. And the second she comes around the corner, the music's loud. I'm like, we can't sell her car. But and it's a 6-speed.
Oh, yeah.
And she loves it. And I'm like, oh, okay, cheers. No, that's fine. My mother-in-law got mad at me a long time ago because we were boarding horses when we had no money and we're $40,000 in college debt. And I said, they got to go. She goes, well, what about that old car of yours? And I said, well, 2 things about that old car of mine. I don't have to clean any shit up after it, and I don't have to feed it.
Yeah.
And I don't have to have the vet come out and look at it.
Yeah.
And it could sit there for the next 100 years, and all it's going to do is go up in value.
It's going up in value.
I said, so, it'll stay. It stays if the horses go.
The horse goes.
Yeah, but no, it didn't work out that way. They stayed too. But
Well, Brian, thanks for showing up, man. We're good. This will be continued. We'll have you back on, man.
yeah, and we'll have to talk. And like I said, maybe we'll have to talk sprint cars.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man.
It's good. It's good to see you again.
You too,
know
man.
that.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, that's our show for today, which means you need to get out there and start working on something. Spend some time turning wrenches. You might be surprised how much you like it. Make sure you check out our website, staceydavid.com, because we've got all kinds of new products and some other great stuff that you're just going to love. Also, make sure to check out our social media. That's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all at Official Stacey David. Our social media is where you're going to find all of the bonus content, the giveaways, the contests, the trivia. We even have extra viewer projects that focus on what you are working on. Also, the new season of Gears will be on MAV TV, and YouTube will be the place that you can view all of your favorite Gears episodes, as well as the full project builds that follow the project from beginning to end. Make sure to check out our new Gears coffee cars. This is a unique blend of coffee and cool stickers to collect that will appeal to anyone.
But the most important thing is get out there and turn some wrenches yourself. Get a project, start working on it, and if you don't have tools, check out Cornwell. They can help you out there.
All right, that's all the announcements. We're all up to date. We'll see you next time.